Hi, I'm Bill Donohue, President of the Catholic League. Welcome to the Catholic League Report. Joining me today, I have Sean Leigh. He's a member of the Catholic League in the Policy Analyst position. Mike McDonald is our Director of Communications. I want to talk today about a situation which is incredibly disturbing. It should be to everybody. It doesn't involve Catholics. I don't care. It involves religious liberty. And the question is on the table, what is wrong with the city attorney in St. Paul, Minnesota? Irene Kao, the city attorney, has said there'll be no charges against all the people who invaded the church, city's church, a Protestant church, on January the 18th. And this is incredible that this is going on, that nobody is going to do anything about it, at least at the level of Minnesota. But in fact, we're doing something about it. And to that extent, I'll turn it over to Sean.
Yeah, Bill, you released two letters today that you wrote. One was to Todd Blanche. You did a good job of outlining how we were on top of this since January. You wrote about the story in St. Paul, the horrible things that happened in the church. I wanted to know if you want to talk about some of the things you outlined in that letter to him.
Todd Blanche, of course, is the acting Attorney General. Back in January, I wrote to Pam Bondi, who was the Attorney General at the time, and I asked her to look into this situation. I also wrote to the Religious Liberty Commission. I wrote to the President of the United States. I wrote to others involved in this whole situation. And in fact, I got a letter back from Trump thanking me for our involvement in this particular issue. Yeah, the FACE Act prohibits anybody from interfering with the house of worship, with any kind of service, be it a temple, a mosque, a church, a synagogue. It doesn't make any difference. You can't just be like Nazis. That's what the Nazis did. They went into the synagogues. We've seen that going on here in New York City. This here was particularly egregious back in January in a Protestant church. Invaders came in there and they just basically took over and terminated the service. Now, Blanche has a role there, because he has to continue the role of Pam Bondi. They did press it, and in fact, there are 39 indictments against the people of the church invaders, which is commendable for violating the FACE Act. And we just hope that I know Blanche has got a lot on his plate because he's yet to be named the official U.S. Attorney General. He's acting right now. Hopefully that will happen. But his department clearly has done a good job. Bondi before him, and they've got to step on the gas, because if they're not going to do anything about it in Minnesota, this is a federal crime. It's not, and by the way, it is also a crime in Minnesota. But to that extent, I'll bring in Mike here.
Yeah, Bill. So in addition to reaching out to Todd Blanche, as you mentioned, he's doing a great job on the federal level. Started off with Pam Bondi. They brought the federal charges, but those are only federal charges. And one of the things that jumps out in your letter to the City Attorney Kao that is just so disturbing is the flagrant disregard for the Minnesota statutes on the table that are supposed to protect houses of worship, protect people of faith. Can you go into a little bit more detail on how this just blatant
It's
disregard?
a remarkable position that she took. She's obviously a dishonest woman. I think she knows better. That's why she's dishonest. She's saying because there was no violence, no palpable violence, nobody was hit over the head, then it's okay. So you invade a church during services, forcing the pastor to stop the service. You have people screaming, your parents are Nazis, getting into the face of children, making them cry in the church. You block people from leaving. So you have intimidation, you have threats, you have obstruction, all of the things that these people were charged with by the federal government under FACE, they could be charged with in Minnesota under their own statutes, as I quoted exactly from the statutes what her charge was. She refuses to enforce the law that was passed by the legislature in Minnesota about this. And it's very clear what's going on here, people. These people, unfortunately, they're all Democrats. I mean, that's what's happened. I don't blaming all Democrats in this country, that's for sure. But the Democrat lawmakers. By the way, the mayor there also agrees that there's no violation. Omar Ilhan, no surprise, doesn't believe in religious liberty, doesn't believe in liberty per se. She said this is okay with the church invaders. Keith Ellison, their attorney general, he's okay with it. If you allow people to bust into a church and stop a mass, stop whatever service it might be, and just because there isn't palpable violence, that this is okay, that means the First Amendment has been in shreds. So we posted today the email of Irene Kao, the city attorney in St. Paul, so that people can weigh in. And you do need to weigh in. This is how you get your voice heard. We're writing to the authorities, the good guys like Blanche, the bad people like Kao in St. Paul. You've got to take a role in this, people. Go to our website, find out more information about it, and become participatory. The only way these people are going to change is if they get enough heat. And if you don't complain, then this situation is just going to get worse. Thank you for your attention.